Hello. What's up, you all? Hello. Welcome to the live. Hopefully, sound is good. Hello. Tim Pool thinks they're deep fake videos. I don't think they are. They do kind of look deep fakey a little bit. I get why he thinks that, but I don't think they are. I heard because they came from Media Matters. We'll look at them. I have them. I did see that people thought they were deep fakes, and again, they sort of look deep fakey. I think they're real. I don't think Media Matters would put that out if they thought they were fake. Oh, you don't think they're real? Well, we'll look. Where did I see? Either way, it didn't work. I mean, whether they're real or fake, it actually makes Tucker a lot cooler and funny. So, hey guys, how are you? I wanted to read to you what I... Oh, wait, let me save that. Oh, wow. Here's Megyn Kelly. Fox would have said something. I think you mean Fox would have said something if they were fake, if they were deep fakes. I don't know. I'm thinking they're probably real. Am I still censored? When were you censored? Hold on, I wanted to hear what Megyn Kelly said really quick. Sarah, I think it shows Tucker was trying to reason things through. Yeah, I mean, the things that he was upset about seem like things that anyone would be upset about. Here's Megyn Kelly.
Need to be honest with the audience about why they can't. Their number one star.
She's mad. I didn't save this video. I'm just going to show you on here.
Need to be honest with the audience about why they can't. Their number one star. They're so disrespectful to their own audience.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them why you pulled the rug out from under him. Stop letting your PR jackal ruin the guy who served you honorably for several years. Don't be a bunch of sissies who don't have the balls to just say why you got rid of him. Stand by your reasoning and let us know one way or the other why they're not doing that, why they're letting him twist in the wind, why they're doing the death by 1,000 cuts. I don't know, but it's really gross. It's dishonorable. Need to be honest with the audience.
She's right. That's the number one. I mean, you think about this story. So we'll just start off talking about Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson was the number one person on cable news. He had the biggest audience of anyone, and they fired him and didn't even tell anyone why. And now it appears as though, if you do think, now it appears as though the videos were leaked to Media Matters by Fox News. I don't know. So now they're doing a smear campaign. They haven't told their audience why they let him go. And it appears as though they're trying to do everything they can to make him look bad. Whether they're fake or not, I'll show you these videos. These were leaked by Media Matters. And these are supposedly showing Tucker. I have two of them. These are supposedly showing Tucker backstage being an a-hole. And you can see they do kind of look like it could be a deep fake. So you tell me what you think. Is it a deep fake or is it real? If it's real, this doesn't change my opinion of him at all. In fact, I think he's even funnier than what I thought. So here's the first one. Right. I think everybody likes Tucker even more. And this just goes to show you how these people are so completely out of touch with their audience. They are so in their own echo chamber that they don't even realize that with Tucker's fan base, these videos just make him look even better. Kind of. They just make him look kind of funny. So here's one.
Holy Well, that was a week, I'll say. Holy shit. 10 hours. That slimy little motherfucker sitting across from me. Oh, you're the best. And I wasn't talking about you. It's just the opposite.
He's giving me a compliment.
No, I'm not. What do you mean? Because you've never been this affirmed in your life? But thank you, Alex. Have a happy weekend. See you, man. The amount, it was so unhealthy, the hate. Thank you, Teresa. The hate that I felt for that guy.
So you can tell me whether you think it's deep fake or not. I don't think it is, although the quality is super weird and the movements are very weird.
Thank you, Todd.
How can you not?
I never feel that way, because I don't put myself. I don't want to feel that way. I think it's wrong. It's bad. It's totally bad for you to feel that way. But that guy, he triggered the shit out of me. Where are you now? Where do you live? The amount of times I had, first of all, fuck you on my lips was like, it was unbelievable. Suggesting that I was cheating on my taxes.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. So where are you domiciled? Where are you now? Do you own a home there? I was like, no, do you not own a home in Maine, Chicago?
Okay, so he's essentially backstage talking to his staff, and you can see he's actually polite to his staff. And he's talking about someone that triggered him. Okay, he's a human. So that's one of the leaked. No, I don't think they're ever going to say they do. They owe it to their audience. And their numbers on his primetime slot have been steadily going down. But it wasn't just disrespectful to Tucker. It was disrespectful to his whole audience. And it's really scary when you think about it. Like it is kind of a big deal because Tucker was essentially the only one on primetime mainstream news that was sort of going against the grain. He was the only one that was critical of the Ukraine war. He was the only one. I'm waiting to see the career ending. He was the only one that spoke out against Pfizer. He called out the media corruption. How so many of our media, they're all basically owned by big pharma, and no one else called that out. And it's really interesting because a lot of people that are very critical of Tucker Carlson, they've never even watched his show, and they don't. He reminds me of Donald Trump in the sense they're both obviously very different, and I don't even think Tucker likes Donald Trump, but they remind me of each other in the sense that a lot of people that hate Donald Trump do not understand why he's popular with his base, and they don't really understand what Trump was really all about. And I think it's the same thing with Tucker. A lot of people that hate Tucker, they've never really watched his show. They don't really understand what he's all about. Tucker, in my opinion, is an anti-establishment voice. And his monologue that he released on Twitter after it was announced that he won't be on Fox anymore, that's essentially what he said. He said, I learned that America, we're essentially now a big uniparty. And he's right. It's almost, yeah, we still use the left and the right, and that does still matter a little bit, but it's also establishment versus anti-establishment. And there is another video that came out of him where he's talking about this. I'll show that after. This is another one of the the leaked videos. I actually thought this was pretty funny. And he's talking directly to Media Matters.
Okay, I'm not, you know what? I'm not qualified on that score, I will say. I thought his girlfriend was kind of yummy. Just kidding, in case this is being pulled off the bird. Yeah, the bird. Hey, Media Matters for America. Go fuck yourself. That's the first thing I want to say tonight.
Oops.
Second thing is totally kidding. I don't even know what his girlfriend looks like. And if I did, I would not find her yummy.
I think that's what he said at the beginning. He was talking about, he goes, well, something, I don't like him, but his girlfriend's yummy. And then he says, I'm just kidding. I don't know his girlfriend, but if I did, I don't think I would find her yummy. Yeah, that one's definitely my favorite. Woke people don't have a sense of humor. What they thought is dirt is actually just him being goofy. No, it's true. And especially these media dum-dums. And this is what they're going to try to do. I think they're just going to try to make him look really, really bad instead of just saying why he was actually fired. We all essentially know why he was fired. I think it's pretty obvious. Or actually, he wasn't technically fired. He's not fired. He's still employed by Fox News. He's just not allowed to be on the air, which I don't know what's worse. And here's another clip of Tucker. This is him at home doing an interview.
People just.
But again, this is probably essentially why he's not on the air.
If you go on TV tonight and say, I think the earth is flat, people just laugh at you. They don't care if you think the earth is flat. It's not a threat to anyone. But if you say, like, what actually happened with Building 7? Like, that is weird, right? It doesn't, like, what is that?
Right.
If you were to say something like that on television, they'd flip out. They would flip out. You'd, like, lose your job over that. Why? It's my country.
Right.
Is it an attack on my country? Can I ask it? Like, I don't really understand.
And that's the thing. It's like even just asking questions. Like you're not allowed to ask questions. You're not allowed to ask questions about the war. You're not allowed to ask questions. If you ask questions about the war, all of a sudden you're pro-Putin. You're pro-Russia. If you ask questions about this, you're a denier. If you ask questions about that, you're a denier. Even going as far as like men being in women's restrooms. If you ask questions about that, you're a phobic and a bigot. Oh, yeah, you're right. JFK, war, 9/11, J6, Epstein, etc. Yep. Vaccine, all of it. And I don't buy the Dominion lawsuit because Tucker was actually the one that said Sidney Powell was full of crap. Sidney Powell was one of the attorneys that was working on the whole Dominion lawsuit for Trump. And Tucker actually reached out to her when all this was happening. And he said, hey, show us your evidence. If we want, we'll give you airtime. You can talk about all the evidence. You can have the whole hour if you want to, because if this is true, if you actually have evidence, this is a huge story. So he talked about this on his show several times. I remember watching it. And he basically called her bluff. He said that she was full of crap. So tying him to the Dominion lawsuit, I don't know about that. I know that some people, I don't have the text message. There was another text message that didn't make him look great, but also did make him look bad. And people were saying some of this behind the scenes stuff was why Fox settled. They didn't want it to come out and it would make Tucker and Fox look really bad. Well, if this is anything along the realm of what they had, it doesn't make Tucker look bad. So. Yeah, the media is corrupted. And, you know, it's really sad because the state of our mainstream news media isn't to inform us. And that's what it's supposed to be. It's not to inform us. It's to basically run PR for the government. And Tucker was the one person that refused to do that. I mean, look, other people are critical. I can't say that all the way. But it's like, it's the criticism that you're allowed to have. It's the allowed criticism. You're not allowed to have actual criticism. It's just like, I don't have Tucker's monologue that he released on Twitter, but I don't know if you remember the monologue that he released on Twitter after the news that he was not going to be back on Fox Air. But he essentially said, you know, you watch the mainstream news media, and I would even say the same thing for even like conservative media, like big corp conservative media, like the bigger companies, if you look, they all kind of talk about the same thing. They're all having the same types of debates about stuff that doesn't actually matter. Like stuff that maybe matters on a petty surface level, but it's not stuff that actually matters, because they want what they want us all left versus right, you know. As long as we're all fighting with each other, they'll talk about Dylan Mulvaney all day, every day, which, okay, great, but that's one person. You get what I'm saying? They talk about this stuff that gets us focused on the little guy, but not the bigger picture, not the people that are actually in charge. It's the same thing with like, tax the rich. If they're going around saying tax the rich, if they can convince you that it's really the rich man that's not paying his fair share of taxes, it's not the fact that we are mismanaging all of your tax dollars. No, it's the rich man's fault. Same thing, divide and conquer. I think the only reason Sidney Powell is still breathing is because she didn't release the Kraken. No, she did release the Kraken, but it didn't really crack anything. It was filled with spelling errors and not a whole lot of like hard-hitting evidence. Dan Bongino asked today on his radio show who leaked it to them. He doesn't think it helps Fox News. No, it doesn't help Fox News at all. It's making it seem like they leaked it to Media Matters, and it's making it seem like they're trying to smear Tucker, which is just, it's really just getting them in worse with the people that are already mad at them. Yeah, it was a baby Kraken. It was just a baby. Just a baby. Megan had mumbled the person's name under her breath. I didn't see that. Hi, Kelly. The Kraken didn't happen because the news media muted all arguments about the election. You know what's really crazy? Around that time, nobody talked about it. No one. The only reason I knew about it was because I lived in California at the time and everything was shut down, so I had a lot of time on my hands. There were 50 hours of election fraud hearings that happened in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Wisconsin, and I believe, was it Ohio? I want to say Ohio. It happened in 5 states. There were 50 hours of fraud hearings where poll workers, lawyers, all kinds of people came and testified to a lot of different funny business that was happening, and nobody really cared. Nobody really covered it. Council on Foreign Relations, the big club, and you're not in it. I'll have to look that up. CFR, they run the media. Georgia water main. Yeah, Georgia was very compelling. I have to tell you, there was a lot of compelling stuff, but nobody really talked about it, and it's all still out there. Okay, let's talk about the border. This is insane. And CNN and MSNBC are finally reporting on this. Let's look at this CNN clip. And then we'll go to MSNBC. I'm sorry I keep scratching my nose. I have the worst allergies, and I feel like there are little furry things on my nose. But it's just, I don't know. The media was in on it. That's why they didn't cover it. You might be right. Where's the CNN? All right, here's CNN. You guys, let's give a big round of applause to CNN for finally covering appropriately what's happening on the border. Maybe if they would have done this 2 years ago, maybe if the pressure would have been put on 2 years ago. Allergies, oh, they're awful. The allergies in the South right now, they're terrible. So this is El Paso, Texas. Craziness. They just declared a state of emergency due to the migrant crisis. Get under your desk. Oh, Tucker's dad is in the big club. I think I knew that. Well, Tucker's talked about that a few times, about how he basically kind of grew up in that world and he just became a part of it. And then he realized along the way that he was a part of the problem. Okay, this is CNN. Let's see what they have to say.
Walk. It's difficult to describe, Jen, with words, so I want to walk so you can walk with me and just see the magnitude of the number of individuals who are around this church here, just streets from downtown El Paso. A lot of these individuals you'll see are males, adult males. A lot of the women with children are actually in shelters, in a network of shelters throughout El Paso. As you mentioned, the city of El Paso under a state of emergency. They declared a disaster because of the influx, because they know that once Title 42 lifts, that there is going to be a greater influx.
So those are the streets of El Paso right now. Wild. And that's CNN. And you can see how surprised the reporter is. I don't even know how to describe it. Maybe if you would have tried to describe it 2 years ago. But it's bad. So Title 42 will be ending on May 11th. And they're expecting to have a huge surge of migrants coming in the wake of that. You'll hear the news that the Biden administration is sending 1,500 active duty troops to the southern border. They're not doing enforcement, though, is what you need to know. You might see this and think, wow, this is a win. Maybe Kelly, she's only acting surprised. You might look at this and think to yourself, wow, maybe the Biden administration is actually doing something. But no, they're not. What are these troops going to be doing? So President Biden is sending 1,500 active duty troops to the southern U.S. border with Mexico, officials said on Thursday, as the administration braces for a possible influx of migrants seeking to take advantage of the lifting of COVID-era restrictions on asylum. The troops will fill gaps in transportation, warehouse support, narcotics detection, and data entry in other areas. The Pentagon said the additional troops will be armed for self-defense, but will not have a law enforcement role. So essentially, these troops are being sent to the border to help process more people more quickly. That's all they're doing. They're not enforcing anything. They're not being sent to the border to stop anyone. They are being sent to the border so they can process more people. Military trained doormen. Yeah, so if you're watching anyone and they're saying that this is a win, that the administration is finally taking this seriously, no, it is not a win. And I got to tell you this too. I do not have the video on me, but I was watching just last week. There was another hearing in Washington about the border. And it was basically the Homeland, the Department of Homeland Security proposed a budget every year to allocate funds, and they have to say what they're going to be using those funds for. Well, for the proposed budget for border security, they're actually lessening the enforcement. So they're taking funds away from enforcement, away from removal, and they want to put more funds towards processing. So they want to process more people and take away the enforcement aspect, the aspect that removes people, that detains people. So that's what they're doing. Yeah, I agree, Kelly. It's only a show. And what you should also know is that most of the people that are coming into this country, they don't have legitimate asylum claims. For instance, this is just a screen grab, but if you're interested, you can search this video. It's on YouTube. It's by the Center for Immigration Studies. So this woman, this is about a 14-minute video, and this is a journalist that is around the border, and he's interviewing people that are coming over the border and claiming asylum, asking them, where are you coming from? Why are you here? So this woman, you can see she's smiling. You can also see she's dressed rather well. She's well groomed. She's got nice earrings, sunglasses, jewelry. So this woman is originally from Venezuela, and she had been living in Ecuador for about 7 years. And she lived a prosperous life in Ecuador. She was a manager at a Kentucky Fried Chicken. She made good money, had a wonderful life. She's smiling in this picture because she's actually talking fondly about her time in Ecuador. So she left Venezuela, went to Ecuador, which is a safe, well, she's well groomed. She was accepted into a safe country. The word groomed is now, oh, I meant she takes care of her appearance is what I meant. So she left Venezuela, was accepted into Ecuador, lived a happy and prosperous life, and left her happy and prosperous life in Ecuador and decided to come to the United States to claim asylum. So she filled out paperwork on her little CBP app. So it's an app now. You can request asylum on an app. Yay. And you'll just be let right in. So she basically admitted that she does not have a legitimate asylum claim. When asked why she decided to leave her happy life and come to the USA, she said, because I heard that Venezuelans were being let in. Because she is originally from Venezuela. Even though she was already accepted into another country, she was already safe, she was already living a prosperous life, she decided to leave that country, come to the United States, claim asylum on the app. She has already been let into our country, and she has a temporary permit or whatever. So she's here on the taxpayer dime, making a fraudulent asylum claim, and we are paying for her and letting her stay in our country. And the majority of the people, I'm not saying they were already settled in a different country, but the majority of the people coming over the border and claiming asylum do not have legitimate asylum claims. Yet our administration is allowing them in, is giving them services, and the ICE courts, at least in New York alone, are backed up 10 years. So a lot of these individuals, they won't even have a court date for another 10 years for their asylum claim to even be adjudicated or not. So that's what our administration is doing to us. Here's at least she's well groomed. Okay. Here's another. Now that was CNN. So that was CNN yesterday. This was MSNBC today in El Paso.
Sleeping.
Let me get it to the beginning. MSDNC is kind of being honest.
Scene for you right here, because there's an active scene right now. Paramedics just arrived, and as you can see over here, we're going to be careful because the street's been blocked off. There's a large crowd of migrants gathering over there that just called for paramedics because one of the migrants apparently suffered a medical episode after sleeping here overnight. Anna, this is pretty incredible. I've been here several months ago, but the number of migrants that are here significantly higher.
So many people. And you hear what he said, there was a medical emergency. So that's something that you need to think about too. If you're having a medical emergency, we have public hospitals. Public hospitals take everyone. They take you if you don't have insurance. They have to take everyone. Imagine the strain that this is going to be putting on our public hospitals. The strain it's going to be putting on your public schools. So those resources, that's money. You guys know how expensive an ambulance ride is, right? You know how much money that costs. Woo! Sorry, I dropped something. You know how much money that costs. Well, they're not paying it. Did Kamala go to the border? Yeah, Kelly's right. No, she did not go. I think she went right outside of it. She went to an airport hangar in Texas and said 2 words and then left. It will bankrupt all of them, and lo and behold, the feds will have a plan to save them. Well, this is what I think is happening. This is what I see happening. And I could be wrong. This is what I see happening. So I don't have the headlines for you. I can show you. New York City is having to cut all of their public service funding. So they're cutting everything. Police, even the libraries. The libraries are public funded. New York City is having to cut all of their public funds to accommodate the migrants. Maine, Portland, which I didn't even know Portland, Maine. I didn't even know there was a Portland, Maine. They are begging residents to give donations to take care of the migrants that they've taken in. I didn't even know they were taking in migrants. Chicago, Lori Lightfoot is saying they're running out of resources. They don't have resources for these migrants. So this is what I think is going to happen. And it's already sort of happening in New York City. So what's going to happen is you are going to push these mayors to the brink. They're going to run out of money because what's happening is they're coming into these areas and you have these mayors or governors who are requesting help. They're requesting federal money to help with the burden. And the federal government is essentially ignoring them. So now what's happening is you have all of these people in your city eating up all of your tax revenue and they're not paying in. So they're taking all that tax revenue, yet they're not paying into the system at all. So now you have these mayors who are in a really bad place. So they're asking for work permits. They're trying to push people to get work permits. And I think because now, thank you so much, Kelly, for Eva. I'll go get her in a minute. I think she's sleeping in the closet over there. I'll get her in just a minute. Thank you very much for the super chat, Kelly. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. She is a lucky kitty. She doesn't always think she's lucky. So what I think is going to happen is these cities are going to have no choice but to try to push these individuals to get work permits because they want them to pay in. Keep in mind, a lot of these cities are also having a mass exodus of retail and they're 1%. So I think they're going to try to get these people, they're going to try to push them to work. And then what's going to happen after that, after some time, then they're going to say, well, they're here, they're working, they're paying taxes, they should be able to vote. And that is what I think the end goal is. I used to not think it was that. I actually bring Tucker Carlson back into it. I thought he was being a little hyperbolic with talking about how they're just importing voters, but that is what I see happening. They're going to push for them to work because they're running out of money. They're having to cut all their public services. They're stuffing people in hotels and gymnasiums. So they're going to push for them to work, and then they're going to eventually push for them to vote. And that's going to be the thing. And then if you don't want them to vote, you're going to be a bad person because they've been here for a few years. They've been working. They don't get a say in our democratic process. And that's what it is. That's what I think. I don't know. Obama quote, we're a nation state, we have borders. That idea that we can just open borders is unsustainable. Absolutely, it is unsustainable. And it's really sad that this is happening right now, because who's going to get the brunt of all of this? Probably the people that are living in the projects, low-income housing, people that have no choice but to send their kids to public school, people that have no choice but have to go to a public hospital, people that need emergency services, people that need law enforcement services. All of these systems will be strained. And in many cases, in many areas, they already are strained. We just haven't seen it on a massive level yet. And no one has put together the pieces yet, because you have little things over here, you have little things over here. I was reading today, somehow San Diego has not been in the news at all. California, as far as an out of control border. We've talked about towns in Texas. We've talked about towns in Arizona. But we haven't talked about San Diego. And San Diego is essentially a border town. Well, I did see. Let me see if I can find it. I did see. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, hundreds of migrants line up at the border. Yeah, San Diego. Hundreds of migrants arrive at a port of entry as the end of Title 42 looms. So they're coming from everywhere. Little secret, if you call 911, fire department responds quicker than police. Oh, pro tip. Thank you. I'm not ABC editing Obama and RFK Jr. It doesn't mean you agree with them, but don't edit them. Oh, yeah. Well, having border security used to be a Democratic position. Whew. I thought I was about to sneeze. I might sneeze. New York will ban new gas stoves and natural gas in new buildings. Yeah, keep watching all these cities just fail. How funny. Yeah, so if you can see that, one. There's hundreds of migrants, so that's right outside of San Diego. I know it's hard to see. But yeah, it's everywhere. I don't know. I don't know how anyone thinks that this is sustainable. And here's another piece of video that came out. I don't think I had the sound on, but look, these are elderly citizens are being, okay, so this is also El Paso. This is at night, and you can see the streets are just lined with men. The reason the streets are lined with men, the reason you're not seeing women and children in the streets is because they're going to the shelters. So all the men are outside. And it's saying elderly citizens are being bullied into staying indoors or prevented from going inside their apartment buildings because these guys are blocking their doorstep. Imagine being an elderly person and living in this apartment building and having all of a sudden this is just outside. I wouldn't go outside either. I mean, I know that the video is dark, but I mean, that's wild. I have never seen just such a blatant and open, I don't even know what else to call it other than an attack. It seems like a planned destruction of our country. Why is it being allowed? I'm telling you, I look at this every single day and I have no answers. Like, I'm flabbergasted and just the worst kind of, in the most I don't get it. It's an invasion. And what was crazy too, so the guy, this guy whose Twitter account this is, who's filming this, he was walking around filming. There was one area in El Paso that you couldn't even walk on the sidewalk because it was just covered with like hundreds and hundreds of migrants. You couldn't walk on the sidewalk. You only had the option of walking in the street. This journalist who was covering what was going on and who was trying to avoid walking on the sidewalk because there was no room, got a citation from a police officer for walking in the sidewalk. And he's like, so you're not going to give a citation to any of these people? Oh, no. They were allowed to do whatever they wanted. The citizen who was on the sidewalk who was on the road because the sidewalk was completely blocked got a citation. Unbelievable. It's unsafe for everybody. And there's so many little things that you don't really think about. For instance, I think about driving. You're importing millions of people who probably don't know all of our traffic laws. They're probably going to end up on the road. It's wild. And that's just one little, there's so many layers to this. And then there's stories popping up of let me find it for you. Let me find it. So now you have adult illegal immigrants posing as children at the border to avoid deportation. Border Patrol nabs hundreds of illegal immigrant adults posing as children. El Paso last year, 416 adult migrants posing as minors. There is a high school somewhere. Yeah. Adult illegal immigrants posing as children to enroll in high school. Okay, that actual specific story was from 2014, but this happens. And I think I've told you guys this story before. I used to work in the state of Virginia. The first time I was here a long time ago, I worked for a state-run acute care psychiatric hospital for children and adolescents. And we were 18 and under. Well, we had an intake one day, and it was someone who was in the country illegally. He said that he was 17 years old, and because he was in the country illegally, because we didn't have any papers on him, we had no choice but to take him in. And this is the thing, because we were a government facility, because we were a public service, we cannot turn people away. Well, we took this individual in, we had to, and we had nothing to go on other than what this person was saying. So we ended up having this person for a while, or maybe 2 weeks. I shouldn't have said a while. We had this person for maybe 2 weeks. This person really, there was something about him that didn't sit well with me. I didn't trust him. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I had a supervisor at the time who felt the same way. So anytime we were working, we just always kept a really close eye on him. And he always wanted to talk to the girls, and like anytime. And we had a few girls who were 14 at the time. So we were just keep a close eye on him. Ended up, he convinced all the kids to have a little riot and go after staff to try to escape. I'm laughing. It wasn't funny. It was really unsafe. We ended up having to he was escorted out of our building by police, which is unprecedented. Anyway, after he was escorted out by police, after a few of our kids had emergency discharges because they were so traumatized, we started getting paperwork, and come to find this person was over 18 and possibly escaping a murder charge from Mexico. So, yeah, adults do lie about their age. You obviously get more benefits if you're a minor. So there is a lot of incentive to lie about your age. There's also a lot of incentive to lie about your past. We are basically a sanctuary country for the world's criminals, because think about it. Let's say you are being accused of a really bad murder or murder. Let's say you're being accused of a really bad crime, or let's say you committed a bad crime and you are on the run and you have the funds. You could just pay a smuggler to get smuggled over our border, throw out your ID, which tons of people do. Ask any sheriff on a border town. They will tell you they find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of IDs, discarded IDs around the border. And there's a reason why people do that. So you can essentially just pay a smuggler, come over to our border, and have a brand new identity, and you're in. And you can get you can have a stay at a luxury hotel in Chicago or New York City for free. Pretty good deal. Actually, no, those people want to be turned in. There are some people who will tell you their name and age, but if they don't have papers, they can say anything. And there's also a lot of people, so I don't know, the people that turn themselves into Border Patrol are giving them a name and an age. The ones I'm most concerned about are the gotaways. Those are the ones that are coming into our country, and they are purposefully avoiding Border Patrol. So there's two groups of people. There are the ones that come in and turn themselves in automatically. They want to find Border Patrol. They want to turn themselves in. And those are the ones, they get their little plane tickets or their bus tickets, and they go to New York and they stay in hotels. Or they go to Martha's Vineyard and get deported. I just lost my train of thought. Oh, and then you have the other group of people that try to avoid border security. They don't want to get caught. And those are probably your criminals. Those are probably your people that have already been deported. So they don't want to get caught. Now, if you pick up one of those people, like for instance, the person that was at my hospital, let's say this person gets picked up by police. Let's say, I don't know. Then they have to go somewhere. And if you live in a sanctuary city, if that person does something and gets picked up by police, they can't be deported. And here's the thing about police. The police cannot enforce the law just because they suspect that you are here illegally. That is just for, I believe, ICE or border security. That's police can't do that. Local police cannot do that. That is because that's a federal thing. That is not a local thing. But you're right. There's a lot of people in this country. There's no way to know who they are, and that's terrifying. I did see that Mayorkas was going down to the border. Yeah, I think Glenn said local police can enforce trespassing. Yeah, that's what they were trying to do. So a way that they tried to get around that was at least enforce trespassing. So that's what they were trying to do on personal property, because you can't enforce that. Let's see, Mayorkas. Here's Mayorkas.
And last month, the month before, these are all from Border Patrol, the Border Patrol Union on you. The chickens are going to come home to roost because of what he's done. They call you a national disgrace. Remove Mayorkas was their most recent tweet. How can you lead a group of people whose union wants you out of office?
Chuck, I'm incredibly proud to work with the United States Border Patrol. I have supported them vigorously since my first day in office. I will continue to do so. A tremendous source of pride. And I will tell you this.
What do you think the disconnect is? Do you think this is media perception? Why do you think there is this a political disconnect? Is this a red-blue divide? Just simply that you're in a Democratic administration? What do you believe it is?
Chuck, I'm focused on mission. That's what I'm focused on. I look at their needs. I try to fulfill their needs.
I want to ask you about Border Patrol because the union doesn't like you.
That's why they don't like him. Imagine working for him. Why is there music playing on my phone? He is the Fauci of the border. Yeah, he is. It is so wild to me how, and I know it's not just him. I know obviously he's a puppet. There's other people involved. Like, it's not just Mayorkas, like he's obviously following orders from the administration. It's not just him. He's just the face that we can all focus on. So I know that it's not just him, but even still, how he can get on national television and say the border is secure, how he can sit there in Washington and just say it's secure over and over, avoid every question. I have no idea. And how that man can go home and look in the mirror or have a family, I have absolute no idea. No idea how he does it. The censor Yahtzees? Oh. He can sit there because the mainstream media covers for him. Yeah. Well, the mainstream media, it's rather kind of funny because, I mean, they have no choice but to cover it at this point. They kind of have to. I'm not saying they're still going to be honest. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be really dishonest about the 1,500 troops that are going down the border. They're going to make people think that this is Biden going and enforcing border security. It's not at all what it is. The Babylon Bee had a headline today. It was rather funny. What did it say? The Babylon Bee. Biden is deploying 1,500 troops to register more voters at the southern border. I love the Babylon Bee, but that one's kind of true. Okay, let's finish this out with Hunter Biden's love child because I need to not talk about the border. I almost want to do another stream later just to talk about things that are not as depressing as this. It's so depressing. Okay, so another thing that has been happening is Hunter Biden has court this week. So I need to look into this more. I haven't been able to too much. It was a crap. I can't even say that. All right. President Biden's failure to acknowledge his 7th grandchild, who was born out of wedlock, was questioned at the White House press briefing Tuesday, a day after first son Hunter Biden appeared in court trying to reduce his child support payments to 4-year-old Navy Joan Roberts. That's actually really sad. Really sad. I wanted to ask about the trial going on in Arkansas with Hunter Biden and the child support, the Daily Mail's Emily Gooden said. Are the president and first lady monitoring that, and how come they haven't acknowledged the 7th grandchild? White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre quickly shut down the line of questioning, saying, "I'm not going to speak to that from here." She's becoming aware. She's only 5. Oh, by the way, Jean, the press secretary, Jean, the heck is her name? The press secretary also said that Joe Biden has reduced illegal immigration by 90%. So that's who this is coming from. White House press secretary, I'm not going to speak to that from here. We need answers, people. Veteran journalist James Rawson of Newsmax tried to follow up by shouting, "Why not?" And of course, she ignored his question. Biden, 80, has consistently snubbed the granddaughter, who turns 5 November 29th, while doting on his other grandchildren, including Beau, Hunter's 3-year-old son by second wife Melissa Cohen. The president's 6 other grandchildren were born within wedlock, and each year their names written on Christmas stockings displayed on a White House mantle, with Roberts omitted from the lineup. That's really sad. That's really sad. It's not the kid's fault. Last week, Joe Biden told a youngster on the White House lawn for a Take Your Child to Work Day event he has just 6 grandchildren. That is really sad. I actually remember that. They had that event at the White House, and he did. He told a child, "I have 6 grandchildren." Sad. He said, "I have 6 grandchildren, and I'm crazy about them, and I speak to them every single day. Not a joke. Matter of fact, I just got finished going through the calls, and only one of them answered the phone. but at least I got to leave a message. Biden gave brief biographies of his 6 other grandchildren, then told his elementary school-aged audience, the crazy thing about me, they're crazy about me because I pay so much attention to them. That's such a slap in the face. Navy Roberts, by contrast, reportedly has received very little love from her paternal relatives since Hunter Biden acknowledged her as his own in response. Oh, so he only acknowledged it after a paternity suit. So he acknowledged finally her as his own in response to a paternity suit from former stripper London Roberts, now 32. Cute little girl. Really cute little girl. The first son initially agreed to pay $20,000 per month in child support. That's a lot. But he is now seeking to reduce the amount, potentially opening his family to an airing of their murky international business dealings and art sales. That's next to talk about. There's a lot going on with the Biden admin. That's why I think she's cute. We're kind of the same cloth. Blondes got to stick together, you know? I also like the sunglasses and the hair bow. The outfit, all of it. I just do. Hunter Biden is also fighting Roberts' effort to change their daughter's surname to Biden, arguing in a January court filing that it would deny her a peaceful existence. Yes, that's Hunter's child. Roberts argues the name change could be a boon for the toddler because the Biden family is now synonymous with being well-educated, successful, financially acute, and politically powerful. I would have other choice words before I would use those. It is unclear why President Biden hasn't acknowledged or met Navy Roberts, though his son also reportedly never met her. Cute. Yeah, she's cute. They're cute. I mean, American society historically shamed children born to unmarried parents, but public acceptance has grown over time. It should be the parents that are shamed, never the child. Gallup polling found that in 2002, 50% of Americans thought it was morally wrong to have a child out of wedlock, and 45% thought it was morally acceptable. Disapproval dropped since then, with just 35% viewing such births as immoral, and 61% finding them acceptable as of 2015. Okay, we don't care. Wow. I agree with you. Someone said the best thing for her would be for Hunter to stay away from her. I agree. That is really sad. You know, it is very, very sad to have to grow up and to, you know, even if she doesn't understand now, she'll see those videos one day, or she'll hear about it one day where her grandparents or her grandfather won't even, that's the saddest part, just well, it's all sad, but not even acknowledging her publicly. It's so sad. Well, Hunter, that's what happens. Yeah, $20K, that can't be a lot for, I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot of money. But for Hunter Biden, that doesn't seem like a whole lot of money. Why wouldn't you just continue to pay that? Let it be. I personally wouldn't want my child to have the Biden last name, but that's just me. Her mom can't strip anymore. I mean, it's actually kind of amazing that he only has one child out of wedlock. Just saying. But we'll have to keep our eye on it because there's a lot more coming out about Hunter and Biden and their business dealings. So, anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to hop off now. I had fun. Thank you. I hate talking about the border so much, but that was news. Yes, if someone was asking, that was Hunter Biden's child that he had out of wedlock. Any word on the whistleblower who disappeared? Ooh, we'll have to look at that later. I know what you're talking about, but I haven't looked into it enough to say anything about it. So I want to look at that and talk about it later. There's so much happening right now. All right. Thank you very much, you all, for watching. That is a good topic for next time. Yeah, that's a good topic for next time on live. All right, you all. Thank you again. Have a really good day. I will see you later. Okay, bye. Thank you very much for watching. Bye. Thank you. See you later.